I think that you can totally get your money's worth if you have a few drinks, have a meal or two, just go through the houses 5 or 10 times each. So you can just, get through so much, have so much fun, interact so much with these characters. You get out of it what you put into it.
Yes.
And I think that you can make this the best value in Vegas, which is really cool. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the HHN Graveyard Show. I'm Josh again, and joined this time by my friend Billy. Billy, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic,
Oh,
Josh. How
hitting
are
the
you?
dab, hitting the
With
dab. We're going
Dab,
back to
it's universal
2015.
it's universal canon now since Squidward did it, so
It's
it
true.
fits with the theme of the show.
That is a fair point. I didn't think about that. How are you doing? Doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk about HHN Vegas. It's been a
Yes.
while since it's the only new HHN I've gotten to do in quite a while, so it's
Right.
exciting for me,
Yeah,
for better
yeah,
or
it's
worse.
very thrilling. Yeah. So, like Billy mentioned, we're gonna be talking about Universal Horror Unleashed Las Vegas, to be very precise. But yeah, I always just call it HHN Vegas too, to be
Right.
totally honest with you. We're gonna be talking about all of the four haunted houses that are there: Universal Monsters, Chainsaw Massacre, Exorcist Believer, and Scarecrow the Reaping. We'll
Woo!
talk about the general atmosphere. I think there are like technically like different zones, but they kind of all bleed together. They're not like traditional scare zones. We'll talk about the food and drink, which is a big part, the show or shows that are there, some special events, and we'll wrap it up. We're going to work hard to be under our hour target this time around, which I think we're going to get to.
I think so too. Otherwise, if we made this a drinking game, our audience wouldn't be doing too hot yet.
Right. We'll get there though. Okay, so we're gonna start the way we normally do with these little review shows. We're gonna give like a 1 or 2 sentence little thesis statement. What do we feel about this event or this place? Billy is going to go first. I went first the last couple times. So Billy, what is your little thesis statement about Universal Horror Unleashed, HHN Las Vegas?
To me, Horror Unleashed is HHN Light for better or worse. It's all the spectacle and all the sleaze and bad things that you may expect from something or it's all the spectacle and all the sleaze that you might expect from a IP attraction in Las Vegas.
I think that is perfectly fair. Okay, here's mine. I think it's a smaller event. If you are willing to take advantage of everything that the event offers, from shows to haunted houses to zones to food and drinks, this is about the cheapest and most filling ticket that you can get in Las Vegas. If you are not, if you were a one and done type person, this is going to be a very expensive and very quick visit. I think that's going to be my little thesis.
No, I think that was perfect. I think that's exactly how I described it in my video, more or less.
Great video. Check it out.
Not that you're copying me, not that I'm accusing that, but I agree with that statement. And
Yeah.
and
Sorry, go ahead.
considering, my friend group when I lived in Florida was very much not the same type of HHN group that you and I were. Many of them were maybe go through the event, or many of them were maybe, go through the haunts twice during the entire run of the event versus me going through them twice in 15 minutes every single day.
Jeez.
So,
Right.
we if we I so we would have very different opinions on this event.
Right. Right. I really think that yeah, this you'll get out of this what you are willing to put into it.
Mhm.
Um and for the two of us, I think that was probably a pretty good experience with one minor thing accepted that we'll talk about
Yeah.
a little later. Okay, so yeah, I'll tell that story about my our actually let's go into it a little bit right now, kind of our experiences with this event.
Yeah.
So Billy and I both we both went the opening night, not the media preview night, but the like the public opening in August. We got there around 4 o'clock, and then how late did we stay again?
We stayed till
9,
almost
8?
closed, didn't we?
Close, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say we left like a half hour early because,
Yeah.
as we'll talk about a little bit later, many of the haunts were closed and or had no actors at that point. So
Right. And then I attempted to go the day after. I'll tell that story later when we talk about kind of the
Ooh. Buckle up,
downside to the
kiddos.
event. Yeah, and then, I just went, the weekend before Christmas, just for the day, just a little day trip from 2 o'clock until I had to leave for my flight around like 8 p.m. or so back home. So we have some experience. This isn't like Horror Nights in Orlando for us, where we spent a week there or
A week
more.
in our life savings.
Right, exactly. Our partial life savings for this event, but we had a good time. So yeah, let's jump into these houses. So the only four haunted houses, like I mentioned, all of them intellectual property houses: Universal Monsters, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Exorcist Believer, and Scarecrow the Reaping. We're going to talk about some of our favorite moments out of all of these houses, and like what made them different versus like a traditional haunted or Horror Nights haunted house, and kind of where you should expect some similarities. So let's start with Universal Monsters. That's the first one you get when you walk into the event, or into the big warehouse. It's a big warehouse.
Yeah.
The outside isn't super themed, but the inside I think more than makes up for it.
Yeah.
Um,
Small
let's
but
start
super.
with yeah, very much so. Let's start with Monsters. What was your thought about, like, I don't know, I guess, like, give me like a couple of scenes, some maybe some comparisons. How did
Right.
you feel about Monsters?
So in general, I feel like HHN Vegas, Horror Unleashed, whatever we'll end up
Mhm.
shorthanding it as this entire video, very much feels like Orlando. Having gone through all of these haunts in Orlando,
Mhm.
I noticed a lot of similarities in the layouts, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. If you're gonna copy something that's done really well.
Right.
And Universal Monsters was probably the one that felt the most similar to me overall. But again, fan favorite hit, bringing something like this to Vegas, I can't blame them for the greatest hits.
Right.
The only thing is even though Vegas is a permanent attraction, I do wish that they were able to have a little more of. I wish they were able to have more effects that felt permanent. We're missing the Larry
Mhm.
Talbot, Bungee, Wolfman at the beginning. Missing this. Did the Hunchback jump up? I can't remember. I don't think Hunchback.
I know.
I don't think Hunchback was bungeeing there either.
I don't
Um,
believe there were any bungees, I don't
Yeah, I don't
think.
think there were.
Mhm.
All the greatest hits were there, but they weren't as spectacular as you may have remembered them if you went through Orlando. But at the same time, some of the scares were more intimate. I kind of dunked on Creature from the Black Lagoon in my countdown series when we got to Monsters, but I thought that was maybe my favorite section of this one.
Mhm.
It was more intimate. The scares were a little bit closer quarters. If I recall correctly, the one Gillman at the end had like a double window where he
Yeah,
could scare
yeah,
you
2,
from instead of
right.
just the singular boo hole that they had in the regular monsters where it was
Mhm,
just an in and out. This was
mhm,
more like the ending of Grave of Flesh this year at Orlando,
right.
where they could kind of come from multiple different
Mhm,
angles.
mhm.
And this is my HHN nerd coming out, but I pointed this out this out to Josh when we were going through. They actually hid one of these sprinklers for the sprinkler system for this house inside like the bottom of a boat overhead.
Yeah, for
And
the creature section.
for the
Mhm,
creature section.
mhm.
I was like, "That's so well hidden." That's what I was looking at in this.
Oh, look at this nerd, look at it, sprinklers while we're looking through the
Yes.
house.
So I guess maybe that makes it sound like it's a lot worse than it was because I was looking everywhere else. But
No, no.
no, it was a good time.
Mhm,
Not as long and not as open as Orlando's layout because of the space constraints. But
and to be clear, we're talking about the Universal Monsters house from
yeah,
2019 in
2019, yes,
Orlando, which was kind of like Billy said, the greatest hits. All the
introduction.
monsters had their own little section. Mhm.
Yes.
So this one started off with Wolfman, and then oh man, I don't remember my ordering. It
It
had a
was
little
Wolfman,
section for
Hunchback,
Hunchback, yeah,
then
then
Creature,
Creature, then
Drac
Dracula, no,
Dracula,
Mummy,
Phantom Frankenstein
Dracula, Phantom
finale, I
Frankenstein.
believe.
Okay, Mummy had a section in there
Oh
too
yeah, Mummy.
somewhere. I don't remember where, but yeah,
Yes, Mummy was in
one of
there as
them.
well. But I
Mhm,
was gonna say Phantom section, just like in Orlando, it was that mirror maze, but
mhm,
it was a lot more intimate in this one. The scares were a lot closer. And it was like one tiny room instead of a hallway, which I thought worked a lot better.
mhm.
We got to talk about the finale.
Sure.
Right? The finale was so good in this one. So I guess we have to backtrack just a little bit to talk
Yeah.
about the queue. Um, since there isn't traditional queue line spaces at Horror Unleashed, each one has like one or two rooms that you would consider maybe like a pre-show or
Mhm,
almost the
mhm.
facade of each haunt is the queue that you're standing in.
Yeah,
And
that's a
you're
good way
not
to
in
put it.
these areas for very long, but the one for, well, shouldn't be in these areas for very long, I should say. But the one for Universal Monsters is, what is it? The crypt? Is
Yeah,
it
the crypt. Yeah,
Dracula's crypt or,
yeah, the Van Helsing. There's like a
oh
Van
yeah,
Helsing like
Van Helsing's
tomb.
crypt,
Mhm,
whatever it is. So you see these
mhm.
marble busts of all of the monsters, and it's super cool and it's super detailed.
Yeah,
It's
the lightning
essentially
flashes every so often.
so good. It's essentially a uh inside version of what you saw at Orlando. Instead of being outside of the mausoleum, you're inside of it.
Right.
So the finale scene for Universal, or the finale scene in Orlando, was you were underneath the castle. Everything is dark. There's the low ceiling, and that was kind of it. The scares were good, but you couldn't really tell what was going on. This one, you end in this mausoleum, this crypt, and it's falling apart. And
Mhm,
the statue is falling down in the center, and the
mhm,
I believe it's Dracula comes out from underneath it. Well, Frankenstein and the bride come out from the other side. Like, such good scares.
mhm,
So
mhm.
such cool
And
walking.
they looked like statues too.
Yeah,
They were kind of black and white, like statue looking. Yeah, it was really
it
good.
was
Mhm.
like better than El Artista's statue work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, on par at least.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fair. And I think that to talk about this is a good way to introduce one of the things that made Horror Unleashed really special was so Billy, I think they did a pretty poor job of doing it for our first day. So, our first day was when all the vloggers and all the influencers and the
Yep.
wannabe influencers like us
Yep.
were
Me.
all there.
That's me.
um so it was very crowded, and I don't think it was really representative of a normal day. So basically, in all of the houses, there is supposed to be, and there is one like bigger scene,
Mhm.
one big room, where you're supposed to actually like be stopped in that room, and some sort of like acted scene plays out. So in this one, you are, I think, in our runs, did we ever see this on opening day, Billy?
We saw it once because I think it was
Okay,
supposed to be when Frankenstein got zapped to
exactly.
life.
Yeah, yeah. So
That our
you
group was
enter.
confused.
Right, right. You enter this room, and the attendant will stop you, or Dr. Frankenstein will
Mhm,
stop you, and there's the monster that's laying on the body board,
mhm.
and the doctor will stop you and bring the monster to life, and the monster writhes, and it's alive, the whole thing, and then the monster kind of gets up and like runs at the guests, and then you're ushered out, and it was like a really really good idea that they separated out, or that they brought to this event,
Mhm.
that's different from Orlando. We'll talk about each of the scenes as we get to them, for each house, but this one was probably my second favorite one of the handful that we saw.
I think I'd
um,
agree with that statement. I
mhm, I
think,
think we'll probably think of the same one too.
yeah, as I say, I don't think number one's gonna get beat. You guys will want to hear about number one. It's
Yeah, for sure.
crazy.
It's really good. But yeah, I mean, I think you covered all the high points that I was thinking of about this house. Um, yeah, I think a lot of the actors have a lot of like boo holes they can kind of run around
Mhm.
between, just so that they can try to minimize the cost. I mean, the actors are obviously the biggest piece of cost for this event, and I think they try to be really efficient with characters here, which is good.
Mhm.
I enjoyed this. I think this was my second favorite house. I guess
Yep.
maybe we'll save the rankings for later, but a little spoiler there. I thought it was fun. You have anything else you want to add before we move on to number two?
No, I think that's about all I've got for monsters. Again, if you went to Orlando, this one may feel familiar, but I don't think it's the most familiar feeling
Mhm.
of the bunch. I think this one did at least a few things differently and had a few clever tricks and design choices that made it, I wouldn't say better than Orlando's, but made it feel unique enough and
Yeah,
not like a
yeah,
direct copy and paste.
right. I think that's totally fair. Cool. I think we can move on to the next house. As you move in, you'll get to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And so like Billy mentioned, the facade is the classic like crawl, is projected on the wall, and you walk up to the Sawyer house. Sawyer
That's
House. Yeah, yeah, really cool queue.
Yeah.
And this one follows the events from the original. Did it have any elements from the sequels? I don't remember. I don't think so. I don't remember seeing Chop Top or anything,
Maybe a few of the
but
characters, but
could
as
be.
I
I
say, I
don't
think
remember.
Chop Top may have. I don't. Nah,
Ugh,
actually, I don't think he was. I think it was strictly
I
the
think it
original.
was. Yeah,
But
yeah.
yes, I love that
Mhm.
title crawl at the beginning. A
Yes,
good
really,
like
really
cold
fun.
open
Right.
moment.
Let me say my favorite moment. So, Billy, I don't remember this from our first time going, but and maybe there was, and I do have a bad memory about haunted
Mhm.
houses. Everyone remembers stuff better than me. The first time I went through in December, there was a that you walk through like the gas station, and then you get to like another kind of like facade of the house, but it's a little bit smaller scale. Maybe you walk into the gas station, then you walk up to the
Yes,
Sawyer house. That's right.
yes, I kind of
Yeah,
remember what.
I remember that. Yeah. um, this time around, I don't remember this the
Yeah.
first time. There was a woman, and she was just kind of like walking along the porch, and they pulse you through, which is really good. It's not a
Mhm,
conga line like it is in Orlando, because the crowds are a lot less. We'll talk about that later.
mhm.
She kind of walks in front of me, and goes like, "Oh, I'm lost. Can I walk through with you?" And she walks up to like the hallway entrance scene. And this is like the big scene in Texas Chainsaw, and she
Mhm.
walks up to like the
Right.
hallway entrance with like the door that Leatherface pulls open, and Leatherface pulls open the door and like grabs her and like pulls her in, and she like screams at the top of her lungs. And like the first time I was surprised, and I don't get jumpy in houses, but if I was, I would have freaked out this like random guest like getting kidnapped from in front of my group. But I thought it was one of the coolest things at this event. I really loved that scene. I thought it was so cool. Did they do that our first weekend,
Yeah.
Billy?
Nope, they didn't do that
No.
our first weekend, or if they did,
Yeah.
we missed it. Because I remember you and I were
Possible.
talking that we saw that walkway, and we were like, "Huh, maybe it's an alternate
Mhm.
route in case they need
Yeah.
to do or in case they add on, or in case they need to do maintenance in
Yeah.
some scenes, they can,
Mhm.
like, change it up."
Mhm.
But, no, we didn't get that, but I'm glad
Right.
to see there's a victim scare.
Oh, so good. Yeah, so much fun.
I'm jealous,
But
honestly.
her
That
her poor voice, she was like screaming at the top of her lungs every like minute or two.
jeez.
Like,
I lose my voice after doing, like, 1 stream, so kudos to them.
right, exactly.
We need her vocal training for the podcast so we can
Definitely. Uh-huh.
get these
Uh-huh.
marathon these and get them out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, what else did you think about it? I thought it was a good one. Good.
Good, but not great.
Yeah.
Might be my least favorite one.
Mhm.
But to me, Texas Chainsaw in 2016 and even in 2021 for that matter in Orlando, both of them were so good at feeling like grimy and like, ew,
Mhm.
I don't want to touch that. And like you just looked at them and it looked stanky and you could feel it. And I didn't get that a lot through this haunt. I felt like I was in a haunted house a lot of the time while I was going through Texas Chainsaw, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, for better or worse. I'm there to go through haunted houses and have fun, so
Sure.
I can't be too
Mhm.
upset about that.
Mhm.
But it
Mhm.
felt very scripted, very narrated. I wish they would have used something better for the chainsaws than the
Yeah.
non whatever they were battery powered ones.
Yeah. It it'd be tough to do it indoors with the gas, and I'm sure there are like, regulations about it, but, you know,
Just
it would be
something that not everyone else is doing.
better. Mhm.
Something
Mhm.
that she couldn't find. But,
Right.
it was fun. I'm glad that they had that victim scare. I
Mhm.
think that's something that certainly would have elevated it. The
Yeah.
Leatherfaces themselves were very good. For when all else fails, good actors make or break the experience. And I still remember the final Leatherface as we were
I was gonna
leaving that
say.
he was going for our ankles.
Alright.
Like I
Uh-huh.
love the little wooded scene at the end. I
Yeah.
guess it was kind of like the Jason finale, Jason Universe, I
Yeah.
guess, kind of. A little gauntlet through the forest with leather
Mhm.
faces on each side. You get a little Franklin in his wheelchair. Well,
Mhm.
unalived Franklin in his wheelchair as a jump scare. But Texas Chainsaw was good, not great, not the most memorable. I think what it comes down to, maybe to me, is the lighting. I remember a lot of yellows and oranges and browns from the Orlando and Hollywood versions that we went through, and I remember a lot of bluish tones that made it
Mm.
that maybe made it feel a little more artificial to me than the others. But
Okay.
again, I still had a good time. Um,
Yeah.
Choreographed scares. I like the jumping through the window at the end. It's
Mhm.
always good when you can get two actors having a scene and doing a bit together and having
Right.
fun.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's fair. I think that, I mean, I don't know, to maybe contradict myself about not being happy about all the Jasons.
Hmm.
Um, I wasn't in in the Jason house in Orlando. If you haven't watched the episode, one of my complaints was that it was just kind of a little too like there's a Jason jump out at you, there's another
Hmm.
Jason, there's another Jason, there's another one, blah 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 blah. The the first half maybe felt a little bit too like other character, not Texas or not
Yeah.
Leatherface heavy. Leatherface is a scary one, right?
Hmm.
Like maybe like what the grandpa character that
Yeah.
sits in his chair. He got me good the second time I went through it because I completely forgot about him had he moved. Um, but maybe I wish that Leatherface could have been mixed in the beginning a little bit more. But
Yeah.
that's kind of a minor criticism.
Even maybe just in the sound design,
Yeah,
just a
sure.
chainsaw a little bit in the
Yeah.
background or
Uh-huh.
something,
Uh-huh.
or
Uh-huh. Kind of.
something to remind you that he's there.
Yeah,
Be
yeah, to make
anywhere.
you like ramp up the anticipation of like, oh, it's coming, he's
Ex-
gonna jump, and even if he doesn't, yeah, kind of heighten the tension a little bit. But yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought that the victim scare at the beginning really made this like jump up my
Mhm.
like list, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm
Mhm.
excited for the next time that we go to be able
Yes.
to experience
Yes,
that.
for sure.
Um, yeah, I mentioned it briefly earlier, but I love the cold open. I love the haunts as much as I love a big grand facade. I also love it when they do something different,
Mhm.
and the anticipation from that iconic narration, like that
Mhm.
does just as much as any 30-foot tall facade could do.
Mhm.
Especially for an IP, it's a good way to introduce you into the world.
Right. Right. Walk through these like famous movies is a cool moment. Cool. I think unless you got something pressing, let's
Nope,
move on
that
to The
was
Exorcist Believer. All right. So yeah, I
believe her.
think
I hardly know her.
hey. So yep, next moving onward, you get to The Exorcist Believer. So basically the way that Horror Unleashed kind of works is that you have a big room that you enter into. It has the boiler bar. We'll talk about the restaurants and the bars later on. Then there's a smaller hallway that connects it to the next big room. The next big room is where Scarecrow, the Reaping is. It's where the Jack show happens, where the Jack bar is, and where like the main restaurant, which is the Premier House,
Yes.
is. Exorcist Believer. The first two that we talked about, Monsters and Chainsaw, were in the first big room. The Exorcist Believer is in kind of the hallway that connects those two
Yeah,
areas.
it's kinda tucked behind the boiler bar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, kind of. I mean, you're not gonna miss it, but it's kind of tucked away in there, and it lets out like basically like right under the boiler bar
Yeah.
too. So
Best
yeah, this is
best theme or best cue and best integration
yeah,
into the environment of
for
the
sure.
warehouse as well.
Yeah. So first I should say this is not based off of the 1970 1980 like classic Exorcist movie. This is based off of the 2023, I believe,
Yes.
remake. Uh-huh. So there was a lot of chatter before the event about like why. I'm sure the rights are cheaper. I'm sure that Blumhouse is trying to push it harder.
Mhm.
But yeah. So you mentioned or the Q facade.
Mhm.
Why did you like it so much? What was it?
Oh, it's Haitian Marketplace, right?
Mhm,
Or the
mhm.
Marketplace.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
Haiti.
it's one of those where it just had some really cool sight lines. It was the most
Mhm.
detailed of them, and there was a lot of little rooms that
Right,
you were walking through
right.
that would have, stuff hanging overhead and stuff that would
Mhm.
obscure everything. Um, I don't know. I guess the best way to put it is it felt the most like an actual theme park queue. It felt like a
Yeah.
Disney or a Universal
Mhm,
permanent attraction line that you would walk through, which was cool.
mhm.
And even if it was just pretty props and there wasn't really any story clues or any hidden details or stuff like that, there was still a lot of stuff to look at, and it felt like you were immersed in the story before it even started. Monsters did a good job at that. um Scarecrow kind of did a good job at that. And Texas Chainsaw, you kind of get the narration and then you're into it.
Right.
But this
Mhm.
one had such a good
Yeah.
such a good build up.
Right. Right. And so you enter the yeah, one of the like Haitian buildings is how the haunt like actually starts. And for all of these haunts, from my understanding the rules may have changed. We'll talk about the inconsistency of the policies later, but we were told filming inside of the houses is not permitted unless you were media. So we don't have any footage from inside the houses, but for all the houses, the facade cue that Billy has mentioned, we do have some footage of that we'll be playing throughout. But
Mm.
once you start kind of the way the movie does, where there's some setup, and then you go into the forest to look for the two little girls that were missing. They get found. They get demonified, possessed, and then
Mm.
you kind of witness their possession. So what was the big like narrative moment for this one, and why was I a victim of it?
Oh yeah, when they do the Exorcist,
Hmm.
what, 2/3 of the way through, halfway through,
Yeah. Hmm.
right before you go into the not the upside down, but the alternate dimension when they're
Right.
hanging, or the one that's hanging from the ceiling with the
Hmm.
blood vomit coming out. It's a
Right.
cool
Hmm.
scene. And if actually, what was it? Oh yes, do remember. I liked this scene better than I did in Orlando because they added a scrim effect to this one
Right. So
where
it's this
when
this circular room that you walk through. There's the exorcism that's happening in the beginning or in the middle of the room, and then yeah, the scrim's in the back. Yeah.
yep,
Sorry. Go
you're in
ahead.
their like their living room, dining room
Mhm.
area.
Mhm.
And in
Mhm.
Orlando, that's all it was, and it was
Mhm.
perfectly fine. But
Yeah.
here you get the almost the same effect that the original Exorcist haunt had in, was that 2016, where uh the seance or the exorcism finishes and then the room lights up and you can see extra stuff
Yeah.
behind
Yeah.
the windows there. And I can't
Mhm.
remember, I don't
Mhm.
think it was the Pazuzu statue, it may have been, but it was just a
Mhm.
little bit extra that
Mhm.
brought it to life and didn't just
Mhm.
whatever. But
Mhm.
I think it would have been cool if they added a little more room for us to be able to watch that scene. Definitely a big memorable moment, but it was kind of designed in the same way that your HHN conga lines were. So it's kind of hard for everyone to make their way into that room and to
Mhm.
actually see
Mhm.
it.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and then so you get stopped. The exorcism starts happening. The girls get out of their seat and harass guests. And I was targeted very rudely. Yeah, for being bald. You don't got to rub it in. That's just rude.
Oh, I was
So
just itching my head. Sorry.
so yeah, it was a funny moment. Um, I mean, to be honest, I wasn't a particularly big fan of the movie. Um, I saw it and then I
Correct.
promptly forgot about it. Like I think literally the day after, I forgot like major plot points. It was just kind of mediocre.
Yeah.
Um, but
Unfortunately.
yeah, and then I didn't think that I know that people love the 2023 one in Orlando, especially because of how intense it was. I don't think that it quite captured the same intensity of the Orlando one. I thought it had some good moments, but I don't think it captured the intensity of the Orlando one.
Yeah.
All
The
right, but
Exorcist Believer pretty much lived or died by its cast and its
mhm,
the ability to become unsettling and intense.
mhm,
And I didn't get it here. I don't think it was necessarily the actor's fault, but I think it suffered a bit again from what we talked about in Texas Chainsaw, where it felt a little artificial, at
mhm,
least to me, compared to the Orlando version,
mhm,
which you'd think would
mhm,
be the opposite since one of those was temporary and one of these is
right,
permanent.
mhm,
But again, this was, just to remind everyone, this was opening day, so things
right,
probably have changed since then, and
not that much.
can't fault them for not finding the perfect formula. But yeah,
Mhm,
the actors were trying. It just, there was something that just
mhm,
wasn't there. The
mhm,
fear factor
mhm.
just wasn't clicking the way it should be, despite all of the moving parts seeming to work as intended.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, this is one I have the least to say about. So, um,
I want to like it. The scenic is still really good in parts. So the one memorable moment is real cool when if you manage to catch it or if you're in a good spot. And I like that they did something different than what's been done before, but
mhm,
it just didn't land.
right. Right, I think that's fair. Yeah, mhm. Cool. Okay,
Sorry,
let's
Exorcist.
Let's wrap up with the last house, which is next to the Jack Bar, in the kind of the second big room that you go into. That was Scarecrow the Reaping. This is the only.
Woo!
I said there were 4 IPs. I was wrong about that. There's one non-IP. It kind of is an IP at this point because this is its third Horror Nights it's been at, but it is technically an original. It was in Orlando in 17,
Yep.
16,
It's
17.
only an IP when Slash does the soundtrack for it.
That's
But yes,
oh well.
2017 was
Uh-huh.
in Orlando.
Then 22 in Hollywood, and then 25 in Hollywood. So this is its third event, third location. Um, this one was really good. Yeah, this one was really good.
No notes,
Mhm. Yeah.
honestly.
I mean, I never did the Orlando one, but I did the Hollywood one. Both
Mhm.
years. This one felt so much longer than the Hollywood one. I mean, I guess
Yes.
you compare and contrast for me the three. I guess which one of the three is your favorite?
Uh,
Um,
I
and like from a horror haunt like scare perspective and like a scenic perspective, give me the breakdown.
I think Orlando still has to be at the top for me.
Mhm.
And, going back to my Florida friend group, I'm pretty sure most of them have Scarecrow at either number
Mhm.
1 or number 2 for their all-time rankings. It
Right.
was a very good haunt. But the Horror Unleashed one made some smart deviations. Also, of course, it has this super cool, memorable moment, which I don't want to
Yeah.
spoil yet. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
No, please
But
say it right now.
well, okay, I suppose you guys have been patient enough. So this one, you go outside a few more times than in Orlando. So you go
Mhm,
out
mhm.
and you're in the cornfield. I think this is even before you go to the outhouse. No, it is the outhouse scene.
Yeah, it is the outhouse scene.
I can't remember.
It
Anyways,
is. It is.
you're in the outhouse scene. You're in the giant cornfield, and sometimes when events use screens, it comes across as a little like
And
Stranger Things 4
real
Chris's
quick,
mind,
to be
but
clear,
you can
the
almost not.
door
Oh,
the door to the next room is closed. You can't go anywhere.
oh, yeah, that's right. They did close it on the
Mhm,
ones. So
mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
you walk into this cornfield. You can't even tell that there's a screen behind
Right.
all of this fake corn because it's done so well, and the door to the
Uh-huh.
next room is closed. And then
Right.
all of a sudden, the vape is ripped. The fog blast just comes on in. You can hear the fans overhead, and it just this dust bowl is completely
Mm,
immersive. And the
wow.
fog is so thick, it's
You
like
can't
not
see
Scary
anything.
Farm Fog Alley. You
Mm,
can't see
mhm,
your
mhm,
hand right in
mhm,
front of your face,
mhm, mhm.
and you've got what, two scarecrows
2.
coming out at you. You got the one that
Yep.
pops out from the outhouse.
Right.
Wasn't there one that was crawling during our or crawled during
I
that
think
scene
so, yeah. There's one that comes from the
during our
corn
trip?
side. Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
But first off, like I said, they said when they were teasing that these haunts were going to have these cinematic moments, I was kind of like, we'll see how that goes. But like this Dust Bowl was like the true definition of what they could do with these cinematic moments, and it kind of puts all of the rest of them to shame. It's like I said, you couldn't even tell that there was a screen. You couldn't even tell that this type of special effect was going to happen. It just came out of nowhere, and not only was it scary, but it was fun too.
Mm,
And then it completely changed the environment afterwards. It's not like fans shut off and all the fog dissipates. The fog's still there. You got to kind of
mhm.
manage your way back
Right.
inside for the
Right.
last half of the haunt after
Right.
this.
Mhm, mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and it never let up. The one big deviation I would say, I guess, from both coasts was that puppet that they had, that
Mhm.
piggy pup. I think it was a piggy puppet, which was super cool and
Yeah.
unexpected.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yep. Mhm, mhm.
Well, maybe it felt a little more like Hollywood, but it felt like a Hollywood haunt, but with Orlando's layout to
Mm.
85% or so.
Mhm, mhm.
And the small inconveniences or the small nitpicks that I did have about Orlando's, Horror Unleashed actually fixed, which is
Mhm,
cool. The
mhm.
finale in the corn maze, so much better, so much bigger, so much more
Yeah.
disorienting.
Yeah, good.
And especially when you combine that with the previous effect, you get so many scenes where you're outside and with that have so much depth, and it feels grand, it feels cool. And then you go into all these claustrophobic moments going through the
Mhm,
farmhouse itself. It's
mhm,
just, it firing on all cylinders.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I think
I say,
you covered it all, I think, to be honest. Um, this house was really, really good. This one was my favorite. I thought that yeah, there were some moments that were pretty claustrophobic and tight, and then like some of the outdoor like corn like finale with they did some really good stuff with mirrors. It felt really, really big, and like I thought that the kind of the dynamic
mhm.
range, if you will, of the small to the big was just a really awesome way to do it. The cinematic scene was so much fun. Yeah, if that is what they can do with these cinematic scenes. Others were good, but this one was just a whole other level. When that fog rolls in, oh, it was amazing. This one was so much fun.
Something I've never
So good.
experienced before
Mhm.
at Universal or otherwise.
Right, right. It was awesome. Um, yeah, I think that's all I got about it. Anything else? Any final thoughts other
Nope,
than
I think that
awesome?
said, I think that's about all I got. If you did it in Orlando, you would be a very happy camper
Right.
and might be comparing it favorably. Might think it's better than Orlando. I
That
don't
is a
think it was
valid
quite there,
opinion.
but I think
Yeah. Now that we're done with these houses, we'll move on to what's next, which is the Jack show. So there was one small show, Billy, that you did not see the first time around.
ooh,
Basically, in the middle between the two big rooms, there's kind of a couple of
mhm,
catwalks. There were some like little like fake like mannequins
mhm.
that would come out and do a song to or do a little dance to one of the like a song about dolls. I've never heard it before. Maybe I'm just old. It was silly. It was just a minute long. I have some video of it. I'll post it here. But a fun little show. But the main show was definitely the Jack show that happened right by Jack's bar. Billy, I'll let you narrate it a little bit. What was the Jack show?
So Jack's Alley in of itself is a pretty cool area because you've kind of got this stage that everybody walks by that you can
Mhm,
see as you're going to Scarecrow or the premiere
mhm,
house, and then you've got some catwalks between or which are in these like cargo crates, shipping
yeah.
containers
Yep.
that make a bridge between the stage and the back of house areas. But the behind all of that, where that crate goes over, is also where the Jack bar is, Jack's Alley Bar.
Mhm,
So the stage show itself kind of starts there. Everyone's just sitting and taking a drink, and then you see uh what was it? All the henchmen of Jack and Chance
mhm,
come out and they're interacting with the crowd. Chance is mingling and doing her thing. And I have to add, it was very nice to see icons in the flesh
right.
interacting
So
with
good. Mhm,
us again and not just
mhm, mhm,
providing boo scares.
mhm,
Um, but I can't remember exactly how the flow of the show went, but it was one of those very shocking, like, oh, they're doing something. And
mhm,
then Chance flies off the rails and make does a scene, makes a dramatic comment, and then you look up and Jack the Clown comes out from the
mhm,
catwalks above and starts to
mhm,
narrate, like, here's what we're gonna do. They took three quote unquote victims up on stage, and we were the ones who were going to determine whether they were alive or not alive by the end of
mhm,
the show.
mhm,
And what I thought was the coolest part of the entire thing is, we're all in the bar having our drinks, chilling, hanging out. We see this little show start to happen, and now all of us are migrating out of the bar to the stage to see how everything unfolds. And what is it that Chance said to get everyone to follow her? Like, I can't remember the quote. I have it in my video, so maybe I'll send it to you. Maybe you can edit it
mhm.
in here.
Wow.
But Chance jokingly is like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's watch these guys get executed. I'm bored."
Don't worry, they change it. Keep going. I'll
Oh,
tell you how they
oh,
change it
they
later
do
on.
change
Mhm.
it. Let's
They do change
go.
it. Mhm.
So go around to the front. And then I don't want to say it's your typical nightmare fuel experience, but it's what you expect from theme park entertainment at this point, but a little bit better. Each of the three potential victims has to do some type of sideshow act or dance or
Mhm.
something. Um, to prove that they are worthy of living or prove that they
Hmm.
should be the one that survives. And
Hmm.
I will say all three of them were really good. I was really intrigued with all of them. I didn't get bored during their 2 to 3 minute whatevers, which for someone like me who has a short attention span, sometimes that's an accomplishment. But they had what? The first guy had like a giant hula hoop that
Hmm.
he did dance with, or that he'd started a routine with before. Two hula hoops, three hula hoops,
Hmm.
so on and so forth. I don't remember the other two off the top of my head.
There
I
was a,
was also
there's a tap dancer.
yes.
Hmm.
I
And I don't.
was I was positioned I was positioned stage right in front of him, so I couldn't see the main stage as much from here on out.
Hmm.
But I don't know if they have different different. Actually, you might know the answer to this. I don't know if they change who lives and dies, or if they have something for if they survive or not. Because after each character had pled their case, Jack asked us who should survive,
Stay or
and the
slay.
audience
Hmm.
voted to
Slay or
unalive all
slay.
three of them. Yeah,
Hmm.
stay or slay. We
Hmm.
voted to slay all of them, and
Hmm. Hmm.
Jack said we were a bunch of bloodthirsty maniacs, and he was correct about that. So I never saw everyone survive this show, but it was kind of funny. They off them, and then you just watch them carry them backstage. And
Hmm.
as they're going back over the bridge and through the catwalks by Jack's Alley Bar, you can see him kind of, dropping the bodies and
Yeah.
shimmying them, they're playing it up. It's not just, show's over, on to the next. They
Hmm.
keep it going.
This so they significantly changed this by December.
Ooh.
I am having a hard time remembering which is which, to be honest with you. So
Mhm.
to start with, the biggest change was there is no like you're drinking at the bar and Chance comes out and starts the show at the bar and migrate over. It's all at the front now.
Okay.
Um,
Makes sense.
the second change, maybe change. I don't remember if there were two or three. I take your word for it. There were only two acts.
Hmm.
Um, just the hula hooper and then the tap dancer.
Hmm.
Just those two. Um, I'm pretty sure all of the cards. So they invite audience members up, and you hold up a card that either says "stay" or "slay." Um, the stay ones Jack has like scribbled over with an L. So there is no like stay or slay. There's just
Uh,
always slay. So
Makes
I don't
sense.
I think that's a change. Is that right?
I believe so, because I think
Okay.
it was. Because I remember I believe when we saw it, they had someone come up on stage and kind of
Mhm.
held the cards, and then they did the audience like, which one should we do? This one or this one?
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, and this might sound negative from some of the things I'm saying, but this was one of the most entertained I've been at a theme park show in a long time. We talk about everything except for Jack and Chance, who are bantering the whole time with
Right.
their hell yeah, Jack. Gotta add a counter for that. And as I said, so good to see the icons in the flesh. They were portrayed to perfection. They kind of brought that HHN spark to the event in
Mhm.
Vegas for me,
Yeah.
and even if they were maybe a little more supporting character than main cast than I would have liked to have seen, it's undeniable that you could tell they were having so much fun, and it brought something really cool to the event. And as Josh says, it sounds like a lot of things has changed. And just with the nature of Jack and Chance's characters, lots of opportunities for ad libs and fun stuff to
Mhm.
happen that
Mhm.
won't happen again.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's right. I do want to talk a little bit about the atmosphere, so I want to
Yeah.
kind of speed through some stuff here, so we can keep it under an hour.
Yeah.
I think that Billy, I think got it mostly right. I think it was a good little show. I wish it maybe had a little bit more like repeatability, but I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Regardless. Okay, moving on to food and drink. There were two of the main like food areas. So two bars, two food areas. The boiler bar, which was this like haunted boiler sitting up top. Every so often, it would kind of steam and smoke and make some noise, which is really cool. That was at the front. Towards the back was Jack's Alley, Jack's Bar.
Jack Alley Bar.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that. Is a bunch of shipping containers. The bar was inside of in the shipping container. The front of the shipping container was taken out,
Mhm.
and so you'd walk up to the bar and do the shipping see the shipping container. They were good. We tried one of the drink, two of the drinks, couple drinks, one drink. I don't remember. It was good.
I
Jack's
had one
juice, I
drink.
believe I
Yeah,
had.
it
Hmm.
it didn't change my life, but it certainly wasn't bad. I can't remember which one it was. I was trying to look up the menu online, but they don't
Uh,
have the menu online. So
yeah, I may have a
I
picture somewhere,
yeah,
but
as I say, I may have a picture.
uh-huh,
But yeah,
uh-huh,
drink was solid. If you're going to a theme park, entertainment, anything, and you're getting a drink, you know what you're getting. And I would
right.
say that maybe Horror Unleashed was a little bit better in that regard, but you're not going you're going to HHN Vegas. You might be having a drink to enhance your experience. You're not going to get drunk like some
Right.
people might do at
Mhm.
HHN.
Right. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. Drink was good. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
Then towards the front of the area, kind of by the boiler bar, was Rough Cuts, which served like some meat, some sandwiches, kind of stuff like that. We didn't have it the first time around. Um, I had it the second time around to try the holiday food. I'll talk about that in a
Ooh,
minute. But what we did have was Premier House, which was
yes.
the big like full service restaurant themed to Blumhouse. So they had a handful of the different Blumhouse movies and characters represented. We got to see Megan. Megan came out and did her little Megan dance. The Grabber walked around. There was the phone booth from the second movie. And then I think those were the two like main. There's the Purge little photo op.
Yes, Andy, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, little stand for the Purge. Um, the food was pretty good,
Yeah,
right?
apparently this is a hot take because I guess we may have had a better experience than others that I've talked to that have gone there. But yeah, I really liked the food. It reminded me very much of you take all the specialty HHN food booths that you find at one of the regular events, and you just kind of take all that food and put it into a full service restaurant.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
and the dishes I had the churraco taco, which was basically a steak taco, but it had like a churro
Mhm.
type tortilla. And then we had the crow's nest, the
Yep.
chicken lollipops.
Mhm.
I thought
Mhm.
they
They were
were
good.
really good.
They
You
were
know,
good.
it's still very obviously in the vein of theme park food,
Right.
but it wasn't something where I felt disappointed or cheated. Flavors were good. They were filling. And I was very happy with the price, and I didn't mind paying a gratuity on top of that for,
Right.
you know, it's not like, oh well, if I went got this at an Orlando booth, it would be $12, but here it was 13.50 and 18%. Nah, it was good. It was very good. I want to go back and eat more food.
In fairness, we probably would have waited longer at an Orlando booth than we
Yeah,
did for this
honestly,
timer.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
I have the flatbread our first time around? Okay.
Yes, you had the
The
flatbread.
the chainsaw flatbread that had, like, the little chainsaw. What I had the tacos the second time. No, I had little Leatherface or little sliders that
Hmm.
my second time going. They were delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had, a different appetizer the second time around, the boiler bread that was, like, a loaf of bread with, like, lots of cheese, with, like,
Ooh.
cheese dipping sauce. It was actually really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was I really enjoyed the restaurant. You get a good view from the restaurant of the Jack show too.
Yes.
So we got to kind of watch the Jack show, which was a lot of fun. Good restaurant. I think
Yeah.
that it was a good place to eat. I never felt like I was paying a ridiculous amount of money for the food that I got, like you
Yeah.
said, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Moving on to the kind of the general atmosphere of the event. So there may have been like actual like scare zones
Mhm.
like designated, but they all kind of bled together.
Yeah.
There were a handful of characters that would walk around, some like scare characters, and then some that were meant to more just kind of like interact with.
Mhm.
Who was your favorite out of the group of characters?
Um, you know, not necessarily a guy who interacted much, but I liked the mannequin that was
Yeah.
standing
Mhm,
across
mhm.
from the entrance of Exorcist
Right.
Believer, who
Mhm.
blended in with all the mannequins, and you knew he was going to give you a jump scare, and then he did, and it was
Right.
great. But maybe the old school HHN in me also wants to talk about the professor from legendary truth that was
Yeah.
there as well.
Legendary truth.
Legendary truth.
Mhm. Mhm.
The one downfall, or the biggest downfall, I would say, of our initial trip, maybe you were able to make up for this the second time you went through, is that we weren't really able to interact with these
It was crowded.
characters a lot because, yeah, it was so crowded. And,
Mhm.
opening day, all the
Right.
people that are there are the people who
Right.
want to be involved with
Exactly.
this type of
Mhm.
uh, more intimate experience.
Yep.
So, but, for those who, like Josh said at the beginning, if you want to dig deep, you're going to get your money's worth and you're going to get some cool stuff.
Mhm.
So there was what, a dozen, eight to
Mhm.
10 actors or so that you could periodically find throughout the common area, all the way from the front, all the way back to Jack's bar. And each one of them was a different part of this story
Right.
involving legendary truth. Um, they would mention the props. The boiler is a prominent centerpiece of
Mhm.
that. Is it really alive? Is it an
Right.
entity? Um, but we weren't able to get, I wasn't at least able to get the full story. And I'm hoping next time I go, I can learn a little more. But that helps the atmosphere just mesh that much better. It doesn't feel as mismatched when each character is playing such an important role.
Right. And they rotated through a lot of these characters too. So the characters you saw in the morning or in the beginning of the day were not the characters you saw in the middle, were not the characters you saw at the end. Yeah, I think the Legendary Truth character was great. The mannequin was great. I thought there was they had like zip line set up top
Yes,
where like the little like vampires would like fly in between the different zip lines. And like
yes,
that was
that was
probably the biggest active scare of the event, but it
mhm.
was so cool to like walk in and like all of a sudden like there's like people like zip lining over your head. Like really,
Yeah.
really cool.
Basically,
Um
imagine if you could just stand in the conservatory for El Artista. That's
yeah, more
pretty
or
much
less.
we were able to do in Vegas,
Uh-huh.
which is
Uh-huh.
pretty cool. Even if it is
Yes.
right at the front where everyone is and it's super crowded, still a fun
Right.
idea.
Right. Yeah. And like Billy said, I mean, when I went on a Sunday like before Christmas. So like, only the weirdos like me are thinking about Halloween at that time. But like it was like dead. And so actually the coolest thing, I think I told you about this. I don't remember if I did though. After the Jack and Chance show, you can take pictures with them. And if no one wants to take pictures with them, or if there are not enough people, like there was my second visit. They come into the bar and they kind of interact with the people at the bar, and so I'm just kind of sitting there at the bar just kind of drinking my drink, and like Chance and Jack both come up and start like harassing me. And it was yeah, the intimacy of the experience. And like I could have sat there. I mean, I kind of ran out of things to say. Like, I don't know what to say to Jack and Chance for like 20 minutes.
Did they
But
call you bald too?
yes, they did. But yeah, like it was like if you care to interact with these characters, you could spend so long interacting with every single one. If you're into this stuff like we are, like you can absolutely get so much money's worth out of this. You can spend 2 to 10 p.m. just at this event, which is a cool experience in Las Vegas, where everything's expensive and is done in 10 minutes, you know?
Right.
Hmm.
A real quick segue, Josh. I don't know when we'll be going back there again, but I think it would be fun to interact with Jack and see how well Jack knows his Orlando history. Play some
It's
HHN
true.
trivia with him and see. Not to be a guy, but it seems like it would be fun. I'd be like, listen, buddy, I don't get to do this in Orlando, so I'm gonna live it up while I'm here.
Right, right. That would be kind of
Well,
funny. Mhm.
at least maybe not until this year. We'll see. Do do do.
Sure. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty good. I want to save some time towards the end. We are just about at time, so we're gonna go over a little bit, but that's okay. Um, the what else is new? That's okay. One of these days we'll get under. I think for Beijing we'll get under. I think.
Yeah.
So the Krampus event. So the reason I went back in December was Horror Unleashed put on this Krampus event, where basically what it was they had special food and drink throughout the event. Some of the drinks were they had this like really like delicious like cinnamon like coconut like kind of like warm like winter season drink. It was really
Sounds
good.
so good.
Yeah, and then they had a handful of times through the night. They had a procession. The characters would come out to some Five Finger Death Punch,
Yep, yep.
and
Gotta be. Gotta
and
be.
and sing and dance their way from the close to where the Rough Cuts area is, right across from around like Chainsaw and Rough Cuts, back towards the end, which is over by the Jack Bar and Premiere House. And there'd be like different characters, and then Krampus, like King Krampus, would come out, sit on his throne. One of the characters would tell the story of Krampus, and then they would kind of split up, and you could go like take pictures or interact with some of the different like winter characters.
Mhm.
Um, it was a fun event. I really enjoyed it. Like it wasn't a ton, but I think it's what Horror Unleashed needs to do to get people back in. Like a little bit different food, a little bit different interactions, a little bit different shows. Like it was really really good. I really enjoyed the event. And we got some, not like anything confirmation, but like some of the attendants at the houses. I was asking them about what's next when I was there, and they were saying like maybe something for Valentine's Day. Maybe it's too late at this point. They were saying like one thing that would be cool is like a Mother's Day event
Yeah.
with everyone's favorite horror mother,
Yeah.
Psycho. So Mrs. Bates, Mother Bates. So I hope to see more and more of these like special events come to Horror Unleashed,
Yeah.
and I will go to them for one person at least. But one thing that is confirmed is that unlike right now, from 2 to 10 is when Horror Unleashed ran when we visited. Now they're switching it to from 4 to 11. So that
Makes
makes
sense.
a little bit more difficult for someone like me that really just wants to come just for a day from the San Francisco Bay Area, but makes more sense because this is an evening event, I think, and it picked up towards
Yeah.
the end of the evening. So yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of operational issues, let's
Buckle up,
talk
kiddos.
about yeah. So I guess the big I will talk about the camera policy,
Mhm.
and why it kind of ruined my second night at the event, second day at the event. You talk about one of the issues that were fixed, which was kind of houses closing. So I will say this is fixed, but what was the problem with some of this on day one?
So when we were there on day one,
Mhm.
the experience very much feels like it's you can go wherever you want, you can do whatever you want, but that's not necessarily the case because we would
Right.
randomly wander up to haunts and they would be closed. There was
Mhm.
no signs posted, there was no signage of any type, and it was
Yeah.
just kind of oh, let's try and move on to the next one, which would also be closed.
Right.
And then we would find the one haunted house that was open,
Yeah.
except
Yeah.
for there was no actors in it at all, and it was
Uh-huh.
very much like yeah, like do we don't know what's going on. Like it felt like we knew what was going on more than the operations when knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Us the HHN nerds were like, listen, this is how HHN is supposed to work, you guys, come on, we gotta,
Uh-huh.
where's your
Right.
cast A, your cast B,
Right.
all that stuff. So it was, and as I mentioned earlier, that's why we left before the event actually
Mhm.
closed, is
Mhm.
because everything just kind of fiddled out. This wasn't like Orlando or Hollywood where closing time hits and the characters are still in the middle of their sets. They're still at their high. They're still running at it. We were piddling out long before then for whatever various operational reasons it may be. And I can't be too hard on the event for these opening day
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
Maybe may have been frustrating to me, but I don't work at the event. I don't know the behind the scenes stuff. I don't know the logistics. I trust that it's something that they are aware of that needs to be fixed and hope
Yeah.
they have.
So, from my understanding, the reason is there is no cast A, cast B.
Yep.
There's one cast, right? And so the characters need to take breaks at some point, right? And so they would do 45 minutes on, 15 minutes off, which is fine, except one of the things that happened was 3 of them lined up at the same exact time.
Mm-hmm.
And so 3 of the 4 haunted houses are closed, and like everyone is going to the one that's open. And so that one ended up getting like a massive line, and it's not posted anywhere. Was the big problem, I thought, was that I couldn't like sequence my trips around when these haunted houses would close. It would be like, is it closed, is it not? I don't know until I walk up. And it's not like it's a big walk. It's not like I minded the walking. It was just the not being able to plan it. And I will say, they fixed that. The second time I went, thankfully, they had a QR code where you could scan and you could get the exact
Oh,
times
that's great.
for when the houses would run, when the shows were much better. It's a day one problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's fixed, thankfully. But
But
the second thing is not fixed. Oh man, this got me heated. So I'll keep it brief because we're just about out of time. So day one, we go there. Billy and I had unlimited tickets, and so that with the first unlimited time was at 4 p.m. The actual event opened at 2 p.m. for the people that had the one time through the house tickets. So we go to 4 p.m. Billy has his camera. I have my big Sony mirrorless camera with multiple lenses. When I go through and when he goes through, they took a look at my camera. They said, sir, just so you know, you can't take any pictures or video in the houses. Okay, sure, sounds good.
Yeah.
And then I should mention too, there was nothing on the website about what was allowed, what wasn't allowed.
We tried. We are good. Yeah, we are good. We are good. We did our research. We tried.
Right.
We didn't want to be those guys who thought we were better than everyone else.
Right,
We did our research, and nothing that was available said anything about cameras or anything. So you expect it to be like a normal event. You can take pictures of the common areas, and obviously Orlando, you can't film in the haunts.
Right.
We were expecting something in the same vein of that.
Exactly.
I'll let Josh continue his experience.
Yeah, and I think it's reasonable at that point. If there's nothing special on the website, I think it's reasonable to assume that either the large complex rules as a whole, Area 15, it's part of Area 15 complex, applies. Nothing about cameras, or a standard HHN rules apply, which, like Billy said, you bring it in, you just can't use it in the houses. No big deal. So night one, they let us in. They don't care. They just let us in. They say you can't take pictures in the house. No worries. We use our cameras all night. We take pictures, we take video, we do whatever we want to do. The second day, I had a few hours to kill before I had to fly back home. So I figured I'd get like a 2 p.m. ticket, show up, go through the houses once, get some food, get some drinks, and then make it to the airport. No problem. So I have my camera out this time. It was in my backpack before, but they go through metal detectors. It's not like it's any surprise. I didn't sneak it through, air quoting. So I have my camera out, and they look at me and they go, "Oh no, you can't bring that in." What are you talking about? I literally brought it in yesterday. Like I literally brought this exact same kit in yesterday. They go, "Oh no, you can't bring that in." Like, what? And so like not a hint of warmth, not a hint of like, I understand this is confusing. I got like 3 or 4 different answers of why we were allowed to bring it in yesterday, from like, oh, everyone in yesterday was media. No, we weren't. Well, you shouldn't have been allowed to bring it in. I mean, I don't know. You looked at it and you told me that I could bring it in yesterday.
Exactly. We were sheep.
Yeah, exactly. Not like we were sneaking it in yesterday, and like a bunch of different reasons. So I kind of got treated like I was like a criminal, like I was like trying to sneak something like a weapon in, and like it's a camera. Like I'm not doing anything I didn't do literally yesterday.
Yeah.
And so like really frustrating, like escalated it up a couple times to like supervisors. No one even showed like an ounce of like, man, I understand this is confusing. The lockers weren't working, so I couldn't put it anywhere. The only remedy they could give me was, well, go put it in your car. I'm like, dude, like I'm from out of town. I don't have a car. It's Las Vegas. There's a bar in here. People drink in here in Las Vegas. Like not everyone has a car. And it was the most frustrating thing ever. And so like customer service did a good job. They gave me basically let me use my ticket at any point throughout the year other than like Halloween day, which I'm sure is crazy. So I ended up getting back to them and asking like what the camera policy is, because the official listed policy that appeared on the website after we left ended up saying like any like professional camera with including like tripods, detachable lenses, selfie sticks, stuff like that. And so I emailed just to make totally clear what it is. And the official answer that I got from customer service was any camera or recording device other than your cell phone, anything. So even like the little like digicams that are like
Yeah,
really like trendy on TikTok nowadays,
that's
not allowed.
crazy.
It's wild. And so they said that they weren't like going to reevaluate. And like I understand you don't want to let in professional gear. I'm not a professional. I haven't made
Mhm.
a dime from from owning this camera gear. It's just a hobby.
Right.
Um, but it was just a really, really, really frustrating thing that really ruined my first trip to Horror Unleashed. And it they made up for it my second one. They gave me just a little like we're sorry gift, like VIP line skipping. I didn't need it. There was no lines my second time I went, but it was a frustrating experience. And Billy got to see how frustrated I was. I was texting him the entire time.
Yeah, I was flying home at that point, so I was like, "Sorry, buddy, I'm not ignoring you." But it wasn't necessarily the policy, it was the way that it was handled without any communication. Going back to talking
Exactly.
about these legendary truth
Mhm.
actors that are wandering around, I'm sure those interactions have something to do with why the policy is in place. And, if I just wish somebody could have explained that to
Mhm.
any of us
Mhm.
and said,
Mhm.
listen,
Mhm.
this is why we want this to be XYZ, actor safety, whatever it is. I don't care even if it's something that sounds fake, I don't care. I just want you to tell me why. But I guess that's just also who I am as a person.
Yeah,
And
I didn't
being
even
told,
care.
eh, no, is just,
Yeah,
it's frustrating.
I didn't even care about the why. I mean, I certainly agree, but I didn't care about the why. Just like telling me, even like if they would have said the first visit, like, just so you know, sir, like we'll allow it in today, but like don't bring this back tomorrow. That
Yeah.
would have been totally fine, but they didn't, and that's what frustrated me.
And no
Nothing
mention of
listed.
the previous day either.
Right.
Of like, oh yeah, we know it was a thing yesterday, but today it's not. Just
Exactly. Exactly. Not an ounce of warmth. So yeah, that just a little bit of like ops issues. Much better the second time around.
yeah,
So, but I just wanted to complain about that because
yeah.
Billy had listened to me complain about it for 4 months at this 5 months at this point. So now you have to listen to me complain about it.
And I
But
feel like it's a valid complaint. It's not complaining for complaining, it's valid.
yeah, I couldn't have been expected to know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll kind of finish what we wanted to talk about this event. Any closing thoughts, Billy, about this? I guess what were your kind of overall thoughts, and will you go back? What was your opinion of
Yeah.
it as a whole?
As I said at the beginning, it's HHN Light. Am I gonna go back? Certainly. I've alluded to it a few times in
Mhm,
this episode.
mhm,
But if you are someone like me or if you're an HHN mega fan, just remember to temper your expectations.
mhm,
One thing
mhm.
I didn't mention when we were talking about atmosphere is that there are a lot of cool Orlando props hidden
Yes.
throughout these common areas and these
Mhm,
sets. And, you know, if those weren't there, the entire experience I think would have been brought down a little bit and felt more
right.
like its own kind of cash grab separate
Right.
entity. But
Uh-huh.
with a lot of these Orlando props and reused things there, it feels like a celebration of HHN, even if the results on the haunts aren't necessarily as cutting edge or as scary or as immersive as I personally would have thought. But
Mhm.
at the same time, if I'm going to go to HHN every single day for an entire year if I was at Vegas, I wouldn't be going. I don't know if I would go because it was immersive or just because it was comfortable and fun.
Right.
And this is exactly what it is. You're going to see stuff you've already saw before, some of it better, some of it worse. It's comfort. It's HHN comfort food. So if you're going for the deep cuts, you're going to get some of it, but you're not going to get it everywhere.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
if you're going for one and done, you're probably better off just saving that money and trying to go to one of the actual events
Mhm,
or
mhm,
doing
mhm.
something else on the strip because this
Right.
isn't going to turn you into an HHN fan. It's not
Right.
going to turn you off from HHN either. It's a
Mhm,
good filler for the rest of the year until the main
mhm,
event comes,
mhm,
with the
mhm.
exception of Jack and Chance and the face characters. They're
Yeah.
phenomenal to interact with, and
Mhm.
I like that part. I hope to see them expand on that a lot in the future.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, going back to my thesis, I think that so they sell one time through the house passes and they're
Mhm.
unlimited. I think that the unlimited was only 10, 20, $30 more.
Yeah, I think it was,
Um
yeah, 20.
Yeah, that sounds right. Um, I think that you can totally get your money's worth if you have a few drinks, have a meal or two, just go through the houses 5 or 10 times each. My second time I went, there was basically no lines for any of the houses except for like the first like 10 minutes of the event, first 15 minutes of the event.
Mm.
So you can just, get through so much, have so much fun, interact so much with these characters. You get out of it what you put into it.
Yes.
And I think that you can make this the best value in Vegas, which is really cool.
Yeah, and especially with it being at Area 15, there's other attractions that are
Yeah.
close by that's
Mhm,
not too much of a
mhm,
slog
mhm,
to try and get to. You could
mhm.
easily tack this on after you spend a day at Omega Mart and
Right.
whatever else is over there. Head up HHN for a little bit, stay in the
Mhm.
area. It's a
Yeah.
good add-on experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Omega
And
Mart in the morning,
yeah,
Horror Unleashed in the evening.
exactly.
Sounds like a good day.
Sounds like a good day.
Cool. Okay. Well, that's going to wrap up our update or our a review of this event, our first talk about this event. It's ongoing. Stuff's going to change. We are certainly going to talk about it when we visit again, and hopefully these more of these special events that go throughout the year. And like we usually do, we are going to talk about some of the things that we have been making. Billy, have you made anything new or anything you want to plug?
I made a new friend at work, my
Hey,
day
that
job,
counts.
but
That counts.
still working on the HHN
Mhm,
countdown, still
mhm,
plugging it away. Getting adjusted to my day job and being a big boy, not a someone who can sit in front of their computer 5 days a week and try and edit videos,
mhm.
unfortunately. But
Like and subscribe so that he can, though.
yeah, exactly. Like and
Mhm.
subscribe, help me get a better camera so I'm not at 1080p anymore. But lots of stuff coming after we get these first batch of
Mhm,
reviews out for
mhm.
Graveyard. You guys will see
Yes.
6 billion popping off even more. I
Yes.
promise. I promise, because if I don't, you guys will hunt me down.
Yeah.
What about you,
Yes.
Josh?
Yeah, so for me, I think since the last time we recorded, I put out a video on mutations, toxic 20s, the scare zone in
So good.
Orlando. I have the thumbnail and a bunch of stuff edited for Cat Lady, but yeah, I ran into some issues going on at my job this week, so I didn't quite get around to it, but I'm hoping that now stuff has settled down. I'll be able to get around to it this week. Yeah, I think that's about it for me. Next up, we have two more Horror Nights events to talk about before we're done with this year. Finally, we're going to talk about uh, the it's oh man, I don't remember what the Beijing event is officially called, but it's HHN Beijing. Really, it's Halloween at Universal Beijing or something.
Yeah.
But it's just HHN Beijing, and then we'll talk about Horror Nights from Osaka, and
Ooh.
then we will get to all these ideas that we want to talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
So
What ideas do you guys want to hear from us? Let us know.
yes,
Let
yes,
us
drop it
know.
in the comments.
We've got
Yes.
we've got a ton of them, but I'm sure you guys won't have your ideas as well. Man,
Right.
it's gonna be speculation season by the time we get done with
Oh man, I
these,
can't
and
believe it.
it's not even March yet.
Right, right. Yeah, we got our first spec map.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff coming. So yeah, so thanks for bearing with us for another episode. I hope everyone enjoyed our talk about Horror Unleashed, and I hope you stay tuned for our next episode where we'll talk about Universal Beijing for their Halloween Horror Nights event. So until next time, everyone, we will see you later.
Thank y'all.
All right,
Take care.
bye.